How's it, everyone? Every tool and framework have gotchas. Today I'm going to show you one with efbundling, but more importantly, how you can protect your applications from it. So if we look at this code, we've got a very basic web API here. Basically loads up just the DbContexts, a very minimal thing that we need. We have a line of code here which is critical to what this problem actually is. So we get the path of a config file. So this extra config.json, and then we'll do something with this. This pattern of getting a file is quite common with things like Swagger definitions. In this case, I'm just getting the path because that's enough to show the break. Then we build the app, and then we just map this one endpoint and we run. The DbContext itself is very basic. We have one object in here, or one table of contact, and that has some details in it. And then we have some migrations. So very quickly, if you aren't familiar with what efbundling is, basically it allows you to run a command like this. So .NET ef migrations bundle, and then in this case I'm forcing just so that we can overwrite the file that exists. So if we go ahead and run this deployment, you can see that it says unable to create the object of type local DbContext. For different patterns, visit this URL. Notice though, before that we have this warning that pops out that tells us that the host service couldn't start up, and there was an error where the value cannot be null of path 1. Now, earlier on when this built our bundle, we didn't see that error. And what's actually happening is this line here is breaking. But if we go ahead and write this out, so we'll just say location and grab that. And then we go back to our console here. We'll see that it writes out the location as it would expect. And then if we go ahead and try bundle this, you can see that location is empty. One way that we can fix this is just to replace our reference, so this reference, with rather using the base directory, so app context base directory. If we go ahead and put that in place, this. Now if we run this, we'll see a different location, but obviously bear in mind that previously we passed that location into the get directory method. And now if we go and try bundle that again, you can see the location does come through, and our deployment of that bundle is successful. But the problem with this is just potentially one thing that could go wrong with your efbundling. So a better approach that will be resilient to other breaks as well is to create a design time factory. And this is what it looks like. So you basically go ahead and create a factory, and it implements the design time DbContext factory of the context type. And then all you have to do is tell it, well, how do you go ahead and create this for me? So we created DbContext options for our context. We tell the builder that it must use SQL Server, and then we just new up a new DbContext passing in those options. So if we go and now bundle, and then we go and deploy, you can see that it said no migrations were applied, the database is already up to date, but obviously this is because we've already deployed. You can see if we do run that again, it does apply those migrations. Obviously you can still see this error coming through, but in this case that doesn't matter because the reason why we have this efbundle is just to deploy our migrations, and that's working as we would expect. So you might be wondering, why is this happening? To illustrate that, we can very easily create a console app that does the same thing. So basically, if you didn't know, when you go ahead and run efbundle, what it's doing in the background is making a single file. So if we go ahead and say publish this console app in release mode, and we say publish this single file, you can see it gives us a bunch of warnings. And one of those warnings warn us about the fact that we should be using this app context base directory, because when you use the sort of bundled object, that location value will be empty. And if we go ahead and open this in something like .peek, you can see all its references bundled together, including our app itself. And you can see here is our context. So that explains why that breaks for that specific instance. And the solution to this is you going ahead and creating this iDesignTime context factory. And then you won't run into that issue or any other issues that are potentially unknown at this moment with EF bundling. Thank you. Cheers.